ABC's Wide World of Sports.
The Texas 500 is underway.
Oh, look at Hornish. Look out. Look out of the wall.
Look at the competition. That's fourth on back.
Oh, my God. This is phenomenal.
Whoa, oh, they're going to go 3 wide.
You can't drive like that. I mean, I'd get underneath them and they just chop you off. Sharp moved me 3 lanes up in the way into the gray. I had no place to go. I had 2 choices. Hit the wall or go high.
It was wild, I tell you.
Look at this. 3 abreast.
Oh, this isn't going to work. Yes, it did. And Greg Ray takes the lead, and Cheever had to get out of the throttle once again.
That is lunacy. That is absolute irresponsible lunacy.
When was the last time you saw Indy-style race cars going through a corner 3 abreast at 215 miles an hour for the lead?
And make it. Oh, look at that.
Well, the race will end under caution, but Scott Sharp takes one of the most incredible and exciting races in IRL history.
Eddie Cheever Jr., a week ago at Texas, you were the most vocal critic of some of the tactics employed by drivers. Have you changed your opinion in any way?
That American flag, a beautiful sight when it comes down. Yeah, we're racing. I hope that the changes the IRL made will stick. That needs to be seen. I don't know. They will now regulate the race from the officials. If you make a mistake, they'll black flag you.
A year ago, you gave Infinity its first and only win right here at the 1 mile Pikes Peak Raceway. What is it going to take for you to make it a two-peat?
To beat the 9 guys ahead of me. But I think we have it.
Vince?
It sounds so simple, but we know that will not be the case, particularly with the 2 drivers up front. It's going to be a battle. Greg Ray starts from the pole for the 4th straight time at this particular racetrack, and Greg has won this race twice before. What will it take to win here a 3rd time, Greg?
Well, I wish I knew the answer to that right now. It's going to be a tough race day today. It's very hot. Track temperature is going to be up around 150 degrees. So, I think good pit stops. We have a good race car, and I think it's not going to be the car that's the quickest, but the car that makes the least amount of mistakes.
Greg Ray starts from the pole, and then on the outside of row 1, it's Scott Sharp. What a terrific duel we saw between Sharp and Greg Ray last weekend at Texas. You can't run that way again here this weekend, but can you get too wide in the corners?
Oh, yeah, you can definitely get too wide. You're going to have to get too wide to get through traffic sometimes, and this becomes a real slick place for sure. You just got to pick your moments. We got to make sure that we're there come those last 50 laps.
It's getting awful hot. How about the track and what that does to change the surface?
Well, we had a little bit of taste of that yesterday afternoon. The track rose up to about 130, 140 degrees, and we're all going to have to deal with it. We haven't done 70 or 80 laps straight on that kind of temperature, but it's be who guessed the best.
Scott Sharp looking to make it 2 in a row after the win last week at Texas.
ABC Sports welcomes you live to Pikes Peak International Raceway near Fountain, Colorado for the Radisson Indy 200. Stop number 6 on the 2001 Indy Racing League schedule. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins, and happy Father's Day. Well, that excitement of Texas is behind us. Things are a lot different here this weekend. First of all, the track is shorter. The turns aren't banked nearly as much. We're a mile above sea level. And Larry Rice, it's hotter and windier than it was last Saturday night.
It sure is. And all those things are going to be big factors. You're going to have to put on a different aero package. You're going to have to get a lot of downforce, huge rear wings, huge front wings. You're also going to have to change the engine. Because of the elevation, they don't make as much horsepower. So you have to change it so you get more horsepower on the bottom end so you can get off the corners. And finally, you have to really make sure, because of the weather, you get lots of downforce in these cars, because in this heat, the best handling car is going to win this race.
Jack, you mentioned that Eddie Cheever in his Infinity won here last year, but another Infinity almost won.
And Bob, that driver was Robbie Buell, back with the Infinity Power Plant and Team Purex Racing yet again. Robbie, the track conditions so hot, so slick. How much downforce has your team put into this car today?
Well, you're right. That's really a tough question in terms of what's the right package. I mean, yesterday morning we ran, and the car was really good. A couple hours later, just with the heat and the temperature, we had a totally different car. And we ran at 10 o'clock this morning, and now the race is at 2 o'clock. So it's a little different deal. But, yeah, we've got more downforce in here to counter the heat and just the air density. And we'll just see where the balance of the car is and tweak it with each pit stop.
Vince Welch, Robbie Buell starts on the outside of row 2.
And starting right next to him will be Sam Hornish Jr. They've run 2 tracks at about a mile distance so far this season, Phoenix and Miami, and Sam Hornish has won them both. We're back on the mile here. What's the secret to winning?
Having a good handling car, that's the big thing right now. We worked pretty hard this morning and warm up, making sure we had a good car, and think we got it. So we'll have to wait and see.
Last week at Texas, your team said they were really pointing to this race. Why?
Myself and Panther Racing haven't had that good of a track record here, but I think we've qualified better than they ever have so far, and better than I have for sure. So we'll come out here and see what we can do. They're doing a great job so far this year, and on the handling tracks, we've had super fast cars, so hopefully we'll pick that up again.
Bob?
All right, thank you, Vince. And Jason Priestley will join us here in the booth again as usual. And Jason, we're almost halfway through the season already.
Yeah, Bob. And as we mentioned earlier, Sam Hornish Jr. still our points leader thanks to those 2 victories he had earlier in the season. Eliseo Salazar second in the points thanks to his unbelievable consistency. We should keep our eyes on both of those guys today. The other big factor, as we mentioned earlier, Scott Sharp and Greg Ray battling it out for IRL supremacy. But my money today is on the 2 Infinity-powered cars. I'm going to be watching Robbie Buell and Eddie Cheever Jr. I think they're going to get up front early and stay there.
20 cars are set to go 200 laps here at Pikes Peak International. June 18th, 2000, the Indy Racing League visits Pikes Peak International Raceway. It turned out to be the day that Eddie Cheever had waited for a long time. Everything in the pits and on the track went flawlessly. Well, not for everyone, but for Eddie, he earned the first victory for an Infinity-powered car in the IRL. 2 hours from now, Cheever hopes to be celebrating in victory lane once again at PPIR. The cars now begin to roll away from pit lane, and in just a few moments we'll get the green flag and the race will be underway. Here's the starting lineup. Greg Ray is 4th consecutive pole, and Scott Sharp the winner last week at Texas on the front row. Second row, Sam Hornish, the points leader, and Robbie Buell. In row number 3, Buddy Lazier and Mark Dismore. Buddy Lazier is the defending IRL champion. He and his wife Kara and son Flynn live in nearby Vail, Colorado. He's a home state favorite here today. The 4th row, Buzz Calkins and Billy Bode. In row number 5, Felipe Giafoni, the rookie, and the defending winner of the race, Eddie Cheever Jr. Row number 6, Eliseo Salazar, second in points, and Jacques Lazier. In row number 7, it's Ayrton Dara, who ran second here a year ago, and Sarah Fisher. Row number 8, Richie Hearn and Donnie Beachlew, who ran 5th here last year. After last Saturday night's race at Texas, Donnie packed up the motor home and made his way with his family here to Pikes Peak. Al Unser Jr. and Jeff Ward are in row number 9. And in row number 10, it's Didier Andre and Billy Rowe in his second start of the season. As we told you earlier, it is hot here today. The air temperature is 95 degrees, track temperature 140. There is, as usual here in Colorado, low humidity, but the wind is rather gusty at 15 miles an hour. Here's the stories we'll be watching today. The elements like weather and elevation. The IRL officials have told the drivers to pick a line and hold it. Don't block a faster car behind you. Cheever and Buell have the Infinity engines, and we'll watch Scott Sharp and Greg Ray battle it out for the win. Down to Vince Welch.
So much has been said about Scott Sharp, Eddie Cheever, and Greg Ray on the track, but we'll also be keeping an eye on them off the track. Their pits are located in succession. Sharp, Cheever, Ray, and we've talked about Cheever's comments during the week. Well, you see, someone has placed a magnet on his pit box. No whining allowed. Jack?
Well, Vince, it boils down to a very simple premise. Brian Barnhart in a closed-door drivers' meeting told each and every driver, no second chances, no blocking. What you have to do out there is you find a line, you pick a line, and you stick to it. Bob?
Well, there's the front row. Greg Ray in blue and Scott Sharp in orange and white, getting set to do battle here along with 18 others for 200 laps in the Pikes Peak Indy 200. Pace car is going to be pulling off the track shortly, and we'll be getting the green flag to get this 6th event of the 2001 IRL schedule underway. The crowd rises. They come down and the green is out. Here we go. It's a nice wide racetrack here at Pikes Peak. Greg Ray has taken off into the lead as he leaves Scott Sharp, Sam Hornish, and the others in his vest as they go down the backstretch. And into turn number 3 for the first time. And Greg Ray is going to lead. He's now led in 20 IRL races, which now ranks second to Tony Stewart, who led 21 races before he jumped from the series. Greg Ray has also led 5 of the 6 races this year and 17 of the last 23.
And you can see Sam Hornish making a run on Scott Sharp, and it looks like he just got by him for second place.
Those guys worked very hard on getting a package that will handle here. The Panther team has been very, very tough on all the 1 mile ovals, and it looks like they're going to be tough here again today.
That lap, 161.6 miles an hour for Hornish. Greg Ray, the leader, ran only a 160.2. So Sam Hornish was the fastest car on the racetrack that past lap.
And Robbie Buell was actually faster than Scott Sharp on that last lap. It's going to be interesting when he comes up and makes a charge of the third place himself.
And Sam Hornish now comes up close to the rear wing of Greg Ray as Hornish sets his sights on leading this event. Robbie Buell has indeed moved to 4th position behind Scott Sharp. Buddy Lazier running in 5th spot. Then Calkins, Dismore, Boat, Cheever, and Giafone complete the top 10 here, as now 4 laps are in the book.
And Bob, it's already a more successful day for Buddy Lazier than it was here a year ago. You may recall he blew an engine on the very first lap of this race last season. Team owner Ron Himmelgarn told me that they just hope that they had a better day today, as you see the pass for the lead.
Indeed, Sam Hornish has the advantage now, passing Greg Ray, entering turn number 3. And Hornish, who of course won the first 2 races this year, as Scott Sharp now comes down to battle Greg Ray for 2nd position. Hornish, who won the first 2 races, has been a little bit off the pace. He may be ready to reassert himself as we now see a battle for that position, that 2nd spot.
That's Robbie Buell just went around Scott Sharp.
What happened there was a couple of guys had to get out of the throttle. Ray got out of the throttle, and he lost a lot of ground. Sharp almost caught him. When Sharp caught him, then he had to get out of the throttle. That let Buell get by. When you lose momentum by just lifting a little bit on this racetrack, it makes a huge difference in speed at the end of the straightaway.
On board with Buddy Lazier, who's running back in the 5th position. Up ahead is Scott Sharp, also Buell, Ray, and the leader of the race, Hornish. We're checking the speeds here at the line, and it would appear that Sam Hornish is still the fastest car on the racetrack. Indeed, Buell is 3rd quickest, and look who's 2nd. Way back in the pack is Jeff Ward, who's running in 14th spot right now, but the 2nd fastest car on the racetrack with a lap that last time of 161.9.
Well, Sam Hornish was far and away the fastest car on the track that last lap, nearly 4 miles an hour.
Buell is going for the 2nd position and is going to take it. Wow, a good battle for 2nd there as Greg Ray and Robbie Buell went at it, but Buell came away with 2nd. And now we go on board with Scott Sharp once again.
You can hear him lift right in the middle of the corner. They put
Ready in your mirrors, looking inside. Clear behind you.
That's Buddy Lazier, who just went around Scott Sharp. And so Sam Hornish lengthens his lead now to almost 4 seconds over Robbie Buell, with Scott Sharp, Greg Ray, and Buddy Lazier running in the top 5, and Lazier now beginning to assert himself a little bit. Sam Hornish has led 5 of the last 6 races this year, has now become the 16th different driver to lead here at Pikes Peak International. Back at Pikes Peak International, there's our track map. Number 4, Sam Hornish, the leader, and look how much of a lead he has over Robbie Buell in number 24 and Buddy Lazier in 91. It's 7.19 seconds, and Greg Ray is having his problems. He's dropped all the way back to 9th position.
And Bob, the problem with Greg Ray's car, and it can happen so quickly in a bull ring, the handling can go away. The car has gotten very, very loose, and Ray reports he's having trouble holding on. They told him adjust the white jacker, but that's not really curing the problem. Meanwhile, Donnie Beechler had to pull on the pit road because his car wasn't loose. It had a terrible vibration. A.J. Foyt's team replaced all the Firestone tires, but did not find a problem there.
Donnie Beechler has dropped 2 laps down now. He's in 20th position as Sam Hornish now encounters some of the slower traffic. That is Richie Hearn, who is driving for Sam Schmidt Motorsports this weekend, substituting for the injured Davey Hamilton. And Hornish is tiptoeing his way around and finally gets it done.
Yeah, he certainly did. He did a nice job. He just barely got on the outside. That's what you have to do. You have to run within the inches if you're going to run that outside through.
And we understand that race control has radioed the Panther team telling Sam Hornish to just be patient out there and not take any chances. He's already lapped Sarah Fisher, who's running 15th. Now that is Ayrton Dare, he's about to lap. He's running in 14th position. There you see some of the drivers that have gained since the drop of the green flag. Jeff Ward started 18th up to 12th. He's gained 6 positions.
And you'll remember Sam Hornish made a couple of mistakes at Phoenix and Miami. He got very high, but he got by with both of them and won the race.
Outside, not clear.
Well, ABC Sports is giving you a chance to win a ride in an Indy car and a trip to next year's Indianapolis 500. We'll be revealing the Indy All-Access Sweepstakes driver of the day later in today's race, so stay tuned. Sam Hornish with a 6 3/4 second lead over Robbie Buell.
I know, Larry, you mentioned Miami, and this sort of reminds me of the Miami race where Sam Hornish just stormed away from the field for most of the race. It seems like the Panther team has a way of finding something the night before the race that none of the other teams find, and it allows Sam Hornish to run away like this.
And we're on board with Eddie Cheever, who now currently runs in the 6th position. Cheever started back in the 10th spot.
And Owen Snyder told me that they really planned on, and every time they've run here, last year when they won, they did the same thing. They planned this race in more or less 3 segments. They want to be fast on the last segment, hang on the first couple of segments, and they had a plan to run at a certain speed. I think he's doing that.
Greg Ray has gone a lap down. And Sam Hornish is just moving through the field with considerable ease. There's Eddie Cheever's statistics, starting 10th and now running in 6th spot. Jeff Ward also now a lap down as we look at the Firestone telemetry from Eddie Cheever's car. Up to
Looks good on the telemetry.
almost a little over 100, make that 173 miles an hour before he had to lift briefly going into the first and second turns.
Now, the front straightaway is going to be faster than the back straightaway because it's 160 feet longer.
Sam Hornish Jr. with 27 laps complete has the lead over Robbie Buell by 6 3/4 seconds. Back at Pikes Peak International, they're the top 5. Look at the tremendous battle for second position. On board with Buddy Lazier, and that's Robbie Buell right beside him. And finally, Buddy Lazier gets second position. He'd been stalking Buell for several laps, found the opportunity, and took advantage of it.
He was very patient. He had another opportunity, but he didn't force the issue. He knows that this is a long race, and he waited until he was sure he could make that pass before he went in there, stuck his nose in there, and got in trouble. He was very, very patient making that pass.
Now here is Buddy Lazier moving to the inside of Sarah Fisher, who is back in 16th position, 1 lap down.
They've had trouble finding the balance in that car all weekend. They just never have quite come up with the downforce package for this 1-mile racetrack here this weekend.
Buddy Lazier from Vail, Colorado, not too far from this racetrack, which is south of Colorado Springs, close to the town of Fountain, Colorado.
And Bob, one thing that Buddy Lazier and his team have stressed this week, they need a win. Currently 5th in points. It's the defending champion, but until they get a win, they feel as though they're going to be hanging around that 5th spot. To get a victory, they feel as though that would push them up to at least challenge for a repeat at the championship. So this Himmelgarn racing team really seeking the win today.
And Lazier goes to the outside of Richie Hearn and will complete that pass. Hearn is 15th position, down a lap also. There are 9 cars on the lead lap as Sam Hornish has lapped everybody except the 8 cars behind him. Unbelievable for this early in the race.
It certainly is. They've really got the setup put on that race car, and if anybody is going to get around him or keep up with him during the rest of the day, they're going to have to make some big changes on their pit stop.
Call Brian.
Down to about 154 miles an hour in the second corner before back hard on the throttle once again down the backstretch for Buddy Lazier. And here is Eddie Cheever Jr., who is coming up on Scott Sharp. Sharp running 4th, Cheever 5th at the moment.
And again, Cheever has been one of those guys that hasn't been in a hurry to get to the front. As long as he's running his pace, the pace that they picked out, and you saw right there the track temperature,
81, post the 81.
The track temperature is 142. I was just trying to listen to the radio there, but the track temperature is 142. The highest temperature the Firestone guys have ever seen was 156 here the first year this racetrack ran.
And race control is black flagging the 81 car of Billy Rowe because of the speed that he is running. He's running 133.6 miles an hour compared to the 150s for most everybody else. Well, think there's something new on TV this summer? When You Don't Know Jack. It's a good game show that's gone bad. Don't miss the special 1-hour premiere of You Don't Know Jack, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, 7 Central, here on ABC.
I thought that was Indy Racing Today that was a good game show gone bad.
I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
Jackaroo, you going to be watching that show?
Look at this. Cheever just makes the pass on Scott Sharp. Got by him going down through that corner, and Sharp just basically let him go once he saw him down there.
So move Cheever now up into 4th position, about 20 seconds behind the leader. Well, if you're just joining us, we welcome you to Pikes Peak International Raceway, the Indy Racing League in action here on the Pikes Peak Indy 200. 44 laps have been completed. Sam Hornish Jr. has a huge lead. He took over the lead on lap number 5 and has just driven away from everybody so far. We're averaging over 161 miles an hour. Buddy Lazier is second, followed by Robbie Buell, then Cheever, and then Sharp. Now the Infinities, Buell and Cheever, are currently running 3rd and 4th. Infinity won here for the first and only time last year.
Most of these teams plan a 2 pit stop strategy. If they can make it to lap 70, they'll pit around lap 70, 75 because of tires more than fuel, and then try to make it 2 pit stops and split it up evenly and make the other one around 140.
Harry, that's one of the things that's been an improvement this year for the Indy Racing League. The fuel mapping for both the Infinity and the Oldsmobile Aurora power plants allow these teams to really feel secure in making this a 2-stop race. When the first race was held here, there was a big question mark about that. Not anymore.
All right, let's update our stories now. The elements, well, we do have a rather stiff breeze, high temperature, both air temperature and on the racetrack. As far as holding your line, we've seen some pretty courteous driving out there so far. The Infinity engines, as I mentioned, 3rd and 4th. And right now, Greg Ray has fallen back to 12th position. He's a lap down. And Scott Sharp is in 6th.
And guys, Jacques Lazier, this car right here just went to, I can't see it on the teleprompter, but he just went around Scott Sharp on the outside, which was an impressive pass.
And Jacques Lazier has come to 5th. He started in 13th. He's up to 5th. He said he needed a really impressive run to keep his sponsor, Classmates, on board. Well, he's having a great one so far.
Classmates.com came on for the Indianapolis 500 and have been with Jock ever since, and hope that they can stay around for a while as Hornish now puts a lap on Scott Sharp, the 6th place car. Now, those Delphi cars of Sharp and Dismore look a lot alike. The way you can tell the difference, well, Scott Sharp's rear wing is yellow on the flat part, and Mark Dismore's has a black flat part of the wing.
Wow, I cannot believe that Sam Hornish has lapped all the way up to 5th place already. That is some truly incredible driving and an incredible setup on that car from the Pennzoil Panther team.
Wow, you can see right there, he's being very careful still.
Down to Jackaroo.
One of the co-owners of the Pennzoil Panther team is Jim Harbaugh, formerly of the University of Michigan, formerly of the San Diego Chargers. Now you're coming home to Detroit as a backup for the Lions.
Yeah, got a chance to go home, play in the state that I was raised and went to college, and looking forward to playing for Matt Millen's organization there.
What about the condition of Charlie Batch? Are we going to see you a lot, or do you think you'll be able to play most of the year?
Charlie's been real healthy so far, gone through every practice and mini camp. He's doing a good job learning the West Coast offense, so it's his football team. I'm there strictly as a backup.
Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Eddie Cheever is running 5th, but Cheever had radioed in and says the engine feels a little rough and he's got a push. The push they can deal with, but they hate to hear bad news about the engine. But Dane Hart, one of the engineers, says the telemetry looks fine. They'll just keep their fingers crossed and hope Eddie's just feeling some of the extra bumps.
Do you remember at Texas Motor Speedway, Eddie Cheever radioed the crew exactly the same thing? Maybe Eddie Cheever hears voices in the car.
Well, Eddie Cheever was in danger of being lapped by Hornish, but he's pulled away from him a little bit now.
5 cars remain on the lead lap here at 54 laps. We'll return with more of the Pikes Peak Indy 200 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Emily, Frank, Chadboat. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. My name is Jeff Ward, and my name is Brandon Ward, and I want my dad, and I wish my dad a happy Father's Day.
He's got possibilities in television, speaking as well as he did. Huh?
I've been more tongue-tied than that in the booth with you, Jenk.
Well, happy Father's Day to everybody out there that's watching this Indy Racing League event from Pikes Peak. I guess it's pretty obvious the caution is out here at Pikes Peak because of debris on the racetrack. It's very windy here. There's been a lot of wrappers and other pieces of paper that have blown onto the racetrack. Let's watch the pit stops now. Buddy Lazier, who is second to Sam Hornish, as the crews go to work on the cars. This comes on lap number 61.
No changes to the leader's car. He likes the way it handles.
Eddie Cheever got out right behind Sam Hornish Jr. If he stayed out and got his lap back, that's big for him and his team.
Yeah, he wanted to get out ahead of Hornish because the pace car would have picked up the leader and Eddie would have been able to go around the entire racetrack, but unfortunately, Sam beat him out, at least unfortunately for Eddie.
Well, the Panther team has been very, very quick. Those guys have been able to change tires in just over 9 seconds, under 10 seconds a lot of times. So that's very tough to beat a team like that when they can do it that quickly.
By the way, Kevin Blanche, the chief mechanic on this car, spent a day fishing with Jimmy Houston recently, and you'll see that show June 30th on ESPN, so watch for that. Why is that? Well, it's because of Shige Hattori, who had a couple of problems. This was his second wreck of the day yesterday, and it came during his qualifying run. He had crashed earlier, and then during qualifying had that contact with the wall. Now, he was released from the hospital, but has not been cleared to drive. Jack?
Bob, you may wonder, where did Sam Hornish and the Pennzoil Panther team get all the speed that they're exhibiting today? Throughout practice and in qualifying, they really weren't all that strong. The man behind me, Kevin Blanche, spent all last night going back through his documentation. He read the readouts, and he made some decisions this morning in the last practice session. I asked Kevin, what did you do to the car? He smiled and he said, I don't want everybody to know, but let's just say we made some major, major changes. Vince Welch, I think people would love to torture this guy behind me and find out exactly what those changes were.
Well, they made some pretty significant changes on the Buddy Lazier car as well. It's been a common theme up and down the pit lane. Downforce, more downforce. The track is very slick, so when Buddy Lazier came in running second, changed the tires, added the fuel, and put in some wing, trying to get that race car to stick to the track a little better through the corners.
Still under caution here at Pikes Peak. Debris on the racetrack has reduced our racing here at Pikes Peak International Raceway.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Speed Pass. Today's way to pay. It's free from mobile.
Well, on this Mobile One update, we'll bring you up to date on some of the accidents and the drivers that were involved in them. Scott Goodyear at the Indianapolis 500, this crash with Sarah Fisher. Later in the season, in fact, last weekend, we had two rather serious crashes. That is the one that has sent Davey Hamilton to the hospital. And then late in the race, Robbie McGee was involved in this incident with Eddie Cheever Jr. Now, we'll update them. Scott Goodyear has been released from the hospital. He was well enough to do the IROC race at Michigan last week on ESPN. Robbie McGee is recuperating at his parents' home. Davey Hamilton continues to have some surgeries. He had one both Friday and Saturday. They're working specifically on the left foot. But right now, he's in stable condition. And Davey and Robbie and Scott, we wish you the speedy recovery and hope you get back with us very, very soon. The green flag comes back out. We're racing once again at Pikes Peak.
Well, you know Eddie Cheever wants to get that lap back from Sam Hornish. It's going to be interesting to see if he's got anything for him right now on the restart.
Yeah, he's going to be standing up in the seat trying to get around him. I'll guarantee you that. But getting around Sam Hornish doesn't seem to be a very easy task here today.
Well, it certainly hasn't been in the first 67 laps of this race. Lapped all the way up through the 5th position. And now Cheever tries to get to the inside of Sam and get that lap back.
I think he may get him right here.
It looks like he's doing okay.
High.
Well, Sam knows it's a long race. He's not going to do anything foolish right now. Eddie Cheever probably pulled out all the stops. They probably did everything they could in order to do that, make that pass. Now then the trick is going to be to keep him back there for the next 50 or 60 laps until the next pit stop.
By the way, we need to tell you that Jacques Lazier had a bad pit stop and in fact got lapped. He's back in 7th position now, and Scott Sharp is also a lap down. So 5 cars now on the lead lap. Buddy Lazier, Buell Ward, and now Eddie Cheever also on the same lap as the leader. However, he's just ahead of Hornish. There's the update on the pit in and pit out. Lazier dropped from 4th to 7th, and everybody else staying just about the same.
We should point out, too, Bob, that Jeff Ward is one of those who did not pit. He elected to stay out on the track to get back in position, and he's currently running in 4th spot, but he'll need a yellow here sometime soon.
Well, Cheever now a lap down once again.
Yeah, you could see Hornish, once he got on the inside of him, he just made Cheever move out. When Cheever moved out, he had to get out of the throttle a little bit. You could see him whistling that wheel. It was a little bit loose once he got out there, so he had no choice but to let him have that spot.
Graphic tells you that Cheever and Lazier now have the current consecutive race streak at 46. Davey Hamilton up until today had started every Indy Racing League event since its inception, but unfortunately, he's watching from the hospital today. Jack Arute, what's the deal on Giafone?
Well, Felipe Giafone, the current IRL rookie leader, had a car that he literally could not drive. It was so loose that on that last pit stop, they decided to make major wing adjustments. The way you do it on these short track wings is you take the rear gurney flap and you pull it out and make an exchange. They went from a very small gurney flap to a very large one, trying to give some stability and additional downforce to the Brazilian rookie.
Felipe has not finished out of the top 10 this year. 6th at Phoenix, 4th at Miami, 10th at Atlanta, 10th at Indianapolis, and 2nd last weekend at Texas. Sam Hornish Jr. continues to lead by 3 seconds over Buddy Lazier. Robbie Buell is 3rd. Welcome back to Pikes Peak International Raceway, ABC's coverage of the Pikes Peak Indy 200. Sam Hornish is your leader by 6 seconds over Buddy Lazier. Now there's Richie Hearn, who's substituting for the injured Davey Hamilton. Richie Hearn is running in 11th position. We updated you on the condition of Robbie McGee just a few moments ago, and we're very honored to have him on the phone from his parents' home in St. Louis. Robbie, we wish you were here. How are you doing?
You know, it's real tough to watch on TV, but, you know, I certainly wish I was there, too. Just still in a little bit of pain, but we're recovering, and look forward to being back in a couple races.
Got a lot of metal in the leg?
Yeah, there's definitely some hardware in my leg. Hopefully it, I guess it stays in there, too. So I just, you know, hope it cures pretty soon so I can get back in a race car.
Well, let's hope so. Now, we mentioned that Sam Schmidt is having a substitute driver here this weekend with Richie Hearn. Cahill Racing has not entered this race. Now, are they going to before you get back, and when do you hope to be back in the race car?
I've talked to Larry extensively a couple times, and I know he wants to be back racing at Kansas City. He's not too big on the idea of going to Richmond with the new driver. And with the rehabilitation that we're working on, I think we can be ready for Kansas City, and that's what we're looking for.
Well, that's terrific. We hope that you're there with us. What do you think about Hornish's performance so far here today? This is pretty awesome, isn't it?
It's pretty wild. You know, that whole Pennzoil team is a Panther team, and Sam Hornish, they've got their stuff together there. I mean, they're really just, you know, it looks like he's easily driving around everybody, and I've seen it happen to me on the track, but seeing this on TV here, I mean, they're dominating, and they've really they've got their things together.
Robbie, thanks for joining us on the phone, and again, we wish you a speedy recovery and hope to see you by at least Kansas City.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Robbie. Robbie McGee from his parents' home in St. Louis. more here. July 8th, by the way, is the date of the Kansas City race, so we hope that to see Robbie back by at least then.
Now, guys, while we're away, it would appear now that Sam Hornish has lapped all the way up to 3rd place. Sam Hornish, Buddy Lazier, Robbie Buell, the only 3 drivers left on the lead lap. Quite an impressive performance.
And Jack has an update on Sam Hornish.
Well, as you've been watching Sam Hornish, if you've seen his picture, you know he has a tiny little growth from his chin to his bottom lip. A new movie has come out starring John Travolta called Swordfish, where Mr. Travolta has the same sort of growth. Sam Hornish has been taking a lot of ribbing from his Pennzoil Panther crew concerning that. They have nicknamed him Sailfish, not Swordfish, Sailfish, Vince.
One of those cars still on the lead lap is Robbie Buell. Buell currently running 3rd. He's complained a little bit about a push, but he's running extremely well. They made a slight adjustment on the first stop, but all looks good for the team Purex of Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. They say Robbie is not complaining about the car. It says it could be a little bit better. They know they're in for a long haul to try to catch Hornish.
And Buell is running in 3rd position. Buddy Lazier is 2nd, and we'll see how far Buell is behind Hornish as he crosses the line. He is 11.3 seconds behind. Raw Thunder of 6,000 horsepower, top fuel dragsters and funny cars compete in the Pontiac Excitement Nationals at National Trail Raceway. Check out ESPN2 for the final eliminations beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. For more, log on to ESPN.com. There's our track map. It's Hornish, Lazier, and Buell, the top 3 at Pikes Peak. Sam Hornish Jr. continues to lead this Pikes Peak Indy 200 with a considerable margin over Buddy Lazier and Robbie Buell, who are running 2nd and 3rd. And Jack Arute, what's wrong with Greg Ray, the pole sitter? He's way back in 16th, 3 laps down.
You remember at the start of the race, we talked about how hot it would be, how greasy it is here at a bull ring like Pikes Peak. A car can go loose very quickly. Greg Ray continues to fade, being passed over and over again. Quite simply, they are chasing the racetrack. The car continues to be loose no matter what they do. It's going to be a long day for the man from the Lone Star State.
He's running 146 miles an hour. The leader, Sam Hornish, is running 162.3. So indeed, the handle has gone away on that race car.
You know, guys, we haven't seen this much dominance since Crazy Horse decided to pay George Custer a little visit a few years ago.
I'm telling you. Buzz Calkins is running in 11th position, and Vince is with his dad, Brad.
Well, Brad Calkins is one of those fortunate fathers that gets a chance to see his son race all the time. So Father's Day at the racetrack, not really anything different for you, is it, Brad?
Yeah, I wish it was a little better. The race would be going a little better, be a little better Father's Day today.
How has the car been? We know you're running 11th.
Car was great. I don't know whether we broke something. We moved up to 5th, and we were running with the leaders, and then all of a sudden developed a horrible loose condition, and we've just gone backwards since then.
So far, not the most enjoyable of Father's Day for Brad Calkins.
He's now 3 laps down. Here is a battle for position, however, as Sarah Fisher takes the 12th spot from Buzz Calkins.
And it looked like Buzz Calkins just got out wide there, and he's picked up a push in his car, the way that he just slid out wide there, wouldn't you say, Larry?
Well, there's 141 degrees track temperature. I think that's part of the culprit here, is that high track temperature. A lot of these guys just weren't ready for it. When it's that high, the slickness of the racetrack really makes a huge difference. These things kind of feel like a pig on ice. You're sliding around everywhere, and you're just hanging on. And I think that's exactly what Greg Ray is doing right now. He's just hanging on, hoping to keep that thing between the fences.
Pig on ice? I never heard that analogy before.
Jason, you ever seen a pig on ice? Quite interesting.
I saw the Muppets on ice when I was a kid.
Let's go down to Jack Arute, who has an update on Lazier.
Well, it's not a case of a pig on ice for Buddy Lazier. It's a case of the dirty air. The air coming off the other cars as Lazier works race traffic is, and I quote, according to Buddy, just killing me. That is the most difficult thing, Larry, in a bull ring. When you've got to work race traffic and the dirty air upsets your car, you can kind of become like a pig on ice.
Well, it certainly is. It's very, very difficult on these small tracks. You don't get much time to rest. You see Buddy Lazier, he takes his left hand off, kind of exercises it down both straightaways just to get a little relaxation. But you're really tense. You're really in a bind almost all the way around this racetrack. And when you get in that dirty air, it makes a huge, huge difference. It takes the air off of these wings, and it really makes these cars move around.
It's a good day for the Lazier brothers. Buddy currently running second, and his brother Jacques is currently in 5th position, although a lap down. And Jacques' best career finish is a 7th. He's done that 3 times, so he is en route to his best finish ever in an IRL race if he can stay up there.
And all these teams, it's a trade-off. You try to put as much downforce as you can without taking away speed. But when you take away the speed, you know, when you put a lot of downforce in, you take away speed.
Scott Sharp, we understand, got way out of the groove, up into the great part of the racetrack.
And what he has to be careful of, once he gets that high, you get marbles on your tires. If you don't get those off, it can be really scary for a lap or two. It looks like, though, he's back up to speed.
Guys, I was just talking with Robert Perez, his crew chief, about his race car today, and he said, we really don't have that bad of a race car. He said, Hornish is just so good. We really can't run with him right now, so hopefully they can either make up some spots in the pits down the road or maybe take advantage of some bad luck on Hornish's side. But if not, it's probably not going to be a challenge for the Sharp crew today.
I think that's the way with a lot of cars and drivers out there, Larry. They don't have bad race cars, but compared with Sam Hornish, they're nothing.
Well, he's certainly at a different level. They've certainly found something in their setup on the mile racetracks whether they're putting more downforce in than everybody else or whether they've just found a balance with that race car that nobody else has been able to find. But they've certainly been miles above everybody at every mile so far this year.
19 cars are still running. Only one, Billy Rowe, has dropped out of the race. Didier Andre running back in 19th position, and Donnie Beechler, who has had problems for A.J. Foyt, is in 18th. We're on board with Sam Hornish Jr. as he continues his domination, now leading Buddy Lazier by 11 seconds. More after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
You're watching the Indy Racing League on ABC Sports.
Cheever has brought out the yellow, some spray coming out the back of his car. His team had just realized on the telemetry just before we saw some problems with Cheever that they have a coil that's gone bad and they're running on 7 cylinders, Bob.
And that does bring out the caution, and it brings everybody to pit road. We'll watch the pit stops once again with Sam Hornish pitted down here toward pit out, and Buddy Lazier not too far behind him.
And Bob, this pit stop, there will be no changes. That's how good this car is. Sam Hornish will make his final stop of the afternoon in 9.4 seconds. Races with one of the Gallus cars. He was told, just let him go.
That was Al Unser Jr. who tried to get his lap back and apparently beat Hornish off pit road. So if that is the case, the pace car picks up the leader, and Al Unser Jr. will be allowed to get one of his 3 laps back. It's the Pikes Peak Indy 200 from Pikes Peak International Raceway. We have completed 118 laps, and we have had only 2 leaders. Greg Ray led the first 4 laps, but then Sam Hornish Jr. took over, and he has flat dominated this thing, lapping all but Buddy Lazier running second and Robbie Buell running in 3rd position. Billy Boat is now shown as another car on the lead lap in 4th, and the only car out of the competition is Billy Rowe. 2 cautions, both of those for debris.
And that's a strategy that Billy Boat is pulling. We'll talk about in a second.
Next up is Richmond, Virginia at the 3/4 mile. That's going to be fun on Saturday night, June 30th. Then we go to Kansas City on July 8th. Nashville, a brand new racetrack, on July 21st. Season continues with our second visit to Kentucky Speedway in Sparta on August the 12th. The 26th of that month, we go to St. Louis for the first time for the Indy Racing League. Then a brand new racetrack in Joliet, Illinois on September 2nd. And we wrap up the season with a return visit to where we saw the incredible action last Saturday night, Texas Motor Speedway near Fort Worth on September the 16th. Here's Kevin Blanche as he reassumes his position in the Panther pit. You can see that not much changed. Cheever did lose 1 position, dropping from 4th to 5th, and Jacques Lazier went from 5th to 6th position.
And those were both because Billy Boat stayed out. He did not make a pit stop. He can run. Billy Boat can probably run another 30 laps or so before he has to make a pit stop for fuel. So he's hoping that somewhere in that next 30 laps there will be a yellow.
Down to Vince Welch.
Buddy Lazier came in for a stop. They put in some wing, and they changed the tire pressure. He was real good on the first run, not good in the middle run, so they put the car back to the setup in which it had the first time around. Now, here's something to keep in mind. They say that Lazier's car, they believe, is better than Hornish's at the end of the run, but Sam's car is so much better at the beginning of the run. He's gaining so much more track position. Doesn't make up for the better car at the end of the run. So Jack Arute, Sam Hornish looking pretty good right now. Even the Lazier camp is counting him as a leader.
Well, let's check in with Kevin Blanche. Kevin, you wouldn't tell me what you did to the car. It was a radical change. People really want to know.
Nah, I can't lay in on that, Jack. It's we've come to Pikes Peak and we've struggled every time we've been here. And Sammy promised he'd lap the field for us, so we're going to see what happens. So the Pennzoil Panther car is running really good right now. I mean, we just, we made a call this morning and it seems to be working pretty good right now.
One of the things about this Pennzoil Panther team is they are not afraid, Larry Rice, to go radical at the last minute.
Well, and they were pretty mediocre all day yesterday. They didn't really run that good. So sometimes when you have to make a big change, it's always scary, though, to do that, because if you make a big change and it's wrong, you can go backwards like Greg Ray did just as fast as you go forwards.
Did Kevin Blanche say it's running fairly good right now or something like that?
Right.
Jeez. We've been talking about how he might lap the field. If he did, it would be the third time in history that a leader has finished on the lap by himself. That happened in 1997 at Texas when Ari Leyendijk finished a lap ahead of Billy Boat. And it happened in 1999 also at Texas when Mark Dismore was on the lap ahead of Davey Hamilton. Now the pace car pulls off the racetrack and we get set for a restart. Green flag waves. The field accelerates. We're on board with Buddy Lazier as he goes to the outside of Eddie Cheever.
Yeah, and that was pretty easy. Eddie Cheever obviously got trouble.
There are 4 cars between second place Lazier and the leader Hornish. Sarah Fisher up ahead, also Giaffoni. The interval there is active. 1.525 seconds. Moves to the inside of Sarah Fisher.
Well, right now, it doesn't appear that he's too far off the mark with Hornish. His last lap was faster than Hornish's lap, so if he can get through this lap traffic, he may make a race out of this yet.
Yeah, his last lap was 155.7, and Hornish was 155.3. However, well, last time Lazier was also the fastest car on the racetrack. Hornish second and Buell third. But he goes to the inside of Felipe Giaffoni, who is running in 8th spot, 2 laps down.
He makes the pass on him.
That's Al Unser Jr. right up there ahead. We'll go around Little Al, and it's just open track to Hornish.
That was a nice move by Al Unser Jr. You can see he moved up the racetrack a whole car length. He let him go, knowing that he's battling for the lead.
Little Al is 12th, also 3 laps down. And the interval is stabilizing, about 1.6 seconds.
Well, and remember, while it's stabilizing, he is running in traffic all the time. So it'll be interesting when he has a clear racetrack to see what happens.
Interesting to see, guys. There's a car that's right ahead of Sam Hornish Jr. is none other than Jacques Lazier, the brother of Buddy Lazier, the man who's chasing Sam Hornish.
And he passed Sam Hornish, so that tells me that Hornish is not as quick as he has been earlier in the race.
I'm sorry, guys, I misstated that. The car in front of him was Ayrton Dare. My apologies.
Dare running in 7th position. Now just 1 lap down since he was able to pass Hornish.
Larry Rice, you're correct. Sam Hornish is not running as fast as he was before, and there's a reason for it. That last pit stop, and they wanted to be their final pit stop, was right on the edge of the window if this race goes completely green to the end. So the team has told Sam, with the sizable cushion that he had, to change the fuel mapping, at least for a little while. When he really begins to feel that hot breath from Lazier, I'm sure they'll go up a notch.
We'll check the speeds at the line. Lazier faster than Hornish.
He's been about a mile an hour faster ever since that last pit stop. So if they want to maintain that lead, I think it's about time they get on the radio and say, hey, Sam, maybe you better turn that fuel back up.
Let's make a run on this guy and get by him.
Third fastest car that last lap was Billy Boat, who's running fourth. And the interval is really shrinking now. Let's see if Hornish is able to. Yes, he does pass Ayrton Daré, but so does Buddy Lazier. And so we have, finally today, a battle up front.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Remember, Lazier says in traffic his car doesn't work as well. Well, he's been in traffic pretty much this whole segment, and he's gotten through them fairly quickly. There were 4 or 5 lap cars between he and Hornish. Now then, all he has is Hornish in front of him. So he's going to have to work on him pretty hard, though. He's fast.
Sam Hornish, if he stays out front, has a chance at breaking the all-time record of most laps led in a race. Tony Stewart led 193 laps here in 1997. Right now, Sam has led 130.
All right, you're buying a car. Just because you're buying a car.
Hear him say he thought he had a little bit of push. He's reaching down there to adjust the sway bar a little bit to see if he can take that little bit of push out, because right now he's running almost the same speed as Hornish.
Larry, one thing that Lee Koonsman pointed out to me just a few moments ago, of course, Lee Koonsman, the team manager for Buddy Lazier, he said he thought the track may be starting to get a little more consistency in it. Remember, when we first started, it was so slippery. They had a USAC event on here before this race here today. The track was really slippery. Koonsman said he believes that maybe the track is starting to show a little more consistency, and that may be helping Lazier as well.
And Vince, all of a sudden, Sam Hornish has indeed felt the hot breath of Buddy Lazier in second. The crew has radioed to him to change the fuel mapping again.
One of the reasons that it was important that USAC Silver Bullet race ran before them, they use a different type of tire. It's not Firestone. So it does make it a lot greasier because the Firestone rubber and the other rubber don't match quite so well.
And by the way, that USAC race was won by Dave Steele.
Oh, you can see right there. See the front end go away from him? You can see him really turn that baby.
Made an adjustment, too. Buddy Lazier is the defending Indy Racing League champion, but he has not led a lap all year. He's close to it right now, about a half second behind Hornish.
Well, he hasn't had that bad a year, except at Indianapolis, where they went on 7 cylinders from about lap 1, and down in Miami, where he crashed. Other than that, he's had a pretty decent season.
Finished 4th at Texas last Saturday night, moving him up 2 in the point standings. He is currently in 5th in the point standings. So we got 60 laps to go here at Pikes Peak International. Just as you rejoin us here, Jacques Lazier brings the car to a stop. There was a report from Vince Welch the car was having oil pressure problems, and just about that time there was a puff of smoke from behind the car, and Lazier brought it quickly off of the racetrack. So we're under caution once again, and Lazier is very frustrated because he was running 5th and having a great day. Jack?
Well, just before that caution was issued, Greg Ray retired from the event. What put you out, Greg?
Well, it's just one of those bad days. Team Menard worked really hard this weekend, but our setup here this year is quite a bit different than we've had before. And, we could hustle the thing in qualifying, and we never really had a chance to do any super long runs. And in the race, I mean, we thought the car would go to a push, and the car was just diabolical out there. Unfortunately, it was loose from the get-go, and everything we did just made it worse. And I had a hard time just, keeping the car gathered up by myself. So in traffic, I mean, it was just hard to stay out of everybody's way. And at the end of the day, we were so far down in points, being 7 laps down. We didn't want the same thing to happen to somebody else that happened to me last weekend. So we didn't want to be a factor in that. We'll get our stuff straight. We'll come back.
We'll see you at Richmond.
Thanks.
Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Driver who had a shorter day than he would have liked is Billy Rowe. Billy, what happened?
Well, we knew we had a short fuse when we came. We lost oil pressure. We had a lot of miles on the motor when we started, and it just sort of went away. So we're going to just regroup and try to go to Kansas and happy Father's Day, Dad.
Billy Rowe, shorter day than he would have liked. He'll look for him in Kansas.
Well, this was the view from Scott Sharp's onboard camera. Mark Dismore. Jacques Lazier's engine let go just ahead of Mark, and Jacques is walking back to the pit area. Back in a moment.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Speed Pass. Today's way to pay. It's free from mobile.
In this Mobile One update, we'll bring you up to date on some of the other racing activity in the U.S. here today. We told you that Dave Steele won a USAC race here earlier today. Yesterday, the Super Modifieds ran here at Pikes Peak, and Troy Rogier was the winner, beating Kenny Hamilton, Davy's father. Now, also today at Detroit, in a race that you saw just before hours here on ABC, Elio Castro-Neves wins over Franchitti, Moreno, Michael Andretti, and Christian Fittipaldi. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series at Pocono today, and Ricky Rudd visits victory lane for the first time in a long time with Jeff Gordon second, then Dale Jarrett, Sterling Marlin, and Mark Martin. Now, during the pit stops that we had during this caution, watch Billy Boat roll away from the pits, and unfortunately, you're going to see him run over the air hose, and that means a drive-through penalty when they go green. Now we go down to Vince Welch.
A double dose of Father's Day for Bob Lazier with his sons Jacques and Buddy running in the race. Buddy currently second, and what a great day for Jacques just before it ended there.
No question about it. Jacques had a great day going. He was running the same speeds with Buddy and the leader for quite a while. He just got that right. He's only had 3 opportunities with it. And, you know, the group is not meshed together yet, and they're having a little problems, but he's doing a wonderful job.
How about Buddy? Would that be a perfect Father's Day gift for you to win today?
Absolutely a perfect Father's Day gift. You know, it looks like he's kind of holding off a little bit and taking his time, as only Buddy knows how to do. Yes, it would be. Buddy is overdue with the bad luck he had at Indy. I'd like to see him have some good luck here.
We'll keep our eye on it and see if he can pull it through.
Bob Lazier, a race driver himself, ran at Indianapolis in 1981, starting 13th and finishing 19th. Green flag comes back out, and we are back up to speed now as the flag will fly at the end of lap 155. Sam Hornish Jr. leads, but Buddy Lazier stays right with him.
Now, these two did not pit on that last time out, so they're obviously going to make it to the end on the tires they have. Both Buell and Boat did pit, so they've got fresher tires. We'll see if the tires after 70 or 80 laps get that much worse. If so, Buell might have a chance to get up front.
Track temperature remains at 142 degrees here at Pikes Peak. It's been a beautiful weekend, though, albeit very warm and windy yesterday. Oh, here is Lazier, and he may take the lead from Hornish, and does, entering turn 3. Wow, Sam Hornish Jr. so strong throughout the race, but now loses the lead, and jackaroos with the other Lazier.
Well, Big Brother just took the lead, and you've got to watch it on a monitor.
Well, you know, I'm extremely happy for him, but at the same time, you know, I'm very disappointed. You know, everybody, the whole classmates team, they worked extremely hard. You know, we had a little problem there in the pits, but we just started working, and we had a great car.
What does it mean to you, Jacques, to finally get the nod and be back in the Indy Racing League as part of Team Extreme?
Well, I mean, it means everything to me. I mean, it's, you know, the whole time I've wanted a home. I wanted a place where I could stay and just, you know, get comfortable, work with the team. You know, we just show that every single time we come out here, the progress just keeps growing and growing. And, you know, all the credit goes to the guys here. They work extremely hard every day, every session, and we just keep getting faster and faster, you know. Hopefully, you know, everything will come together with sponsorship, and we'll be able to make it for the rest of the year.
Jacques and Angelique Lazier, also hailing from Vail, Colorado. Now, that was Billy Boat that they just went around. Boat had to observe that penalty that he assessed on the last pit stop. But Buddy Lazier now begins to pull away from Sam Hornish a little bit. The interval is up to more than 1 second. And again, these are the first laps that Buddy Lazier has led all year long.
Boy, this is great stuff, too. Buddy told me this weekend this is his home track, and he expects good things from himself and his team here. I know he's real happy to be running up front right now.
Vince, what's wrong with Hornish?
Well, this set of tires not reacting to the track surface like the previous set, so the car is a lot more loose than he's had to deal with. You just saw it wiggle there.
Oh, man.
That's a bad set of tires, guys.
Boy, you can see that again. That was a miraculous save, Larry.
He did a terrific job keeping that thing, because once those things wiggle, it's so difficult. It doesn't look like they move much, but when you're sitting in that seat, when that thing wiggles that much, it feels like you're almost ready to spin. But if you overcorrect, that thing will spin around the other way, so you've got to be very cautious when you turn that wheel not to overcorrect.
And remember, Hornish is only a sophomore driver. This is his second year in the league. Watch that wiggle and way up into the marbles besides.
And that's the other thing that he did well. He was able to keep it out of the wall. Look at that thing wiggle. He's up in there. He gets it stopped. He's hard on the brakes. He gets it stopped good enough that he doesn't get in the fence. Watch this. Oh, you can see that thing. He just... And how he kept that out of the fence, I imagine everybody in the pit area wants to know.
Wow. Well, he lost about 4 seconds in that little incident. He's now back 5 to Buddy Lazier. Robbie Buell in third.
And he lost about 20 heartbeats, probably.
Yeah.
Lost 5 years off the end of his life.
Billy Boat remains in 4th position, but only 3 cars on the lead lap right now as Ron Himmelgarn watches his driver, Buddy Lazier, out front. And that is Boat just ahead.
Running into, and he is 6 seconds behind you. You doing?
Well, this is exactly the way they planned it. I'm not sure that when Hornish took off as quickly as he did, he really thought they were going to be able to pull this off. But I know that Dennis LaCava and the whole crew have worked very hard. They were here very early on Friday. They got everything done, and they even left early and said, hey, I think we're ready. Well, obviously they were.
Lazier's best finish here came in 1999 when he came home in 4th position. A year ago, as we documented earlier, he was out very, very early, finishing in 26th position when the engine went away. Well, we update the stories once again. The temperature is just about the same as it was at the drop of the green flag. We've seen some courteous driving so far. The Infinity's currently running 3rd and 5th, although Eddie Cheever Jr. is only on 7 cylinders. And the front row has not been a factor, as Greg Ray is already out of the race in 18th spot, and Scott Sharp, who started outside row number 1, is currently in 8th, 2 laps down.
You notice that Buddy Lazier, he does something almost every straightaway. He shifted gears that last time down there, and you saw him reach down with his right hand. Now then going down almost every straightaway right there. You can see that he takes his hand off and stretches his hand. He relaxes his hand a little bit, just so that he can, his hand doesn't cramp up, because you're always in a bind with that left hand.
31 laps to go in this Indy Racing League event here at Pikes Peak International.
He shifted gears again. What happens when he got in traffic, he shifted gears, and when he got out in the clear again, he put it back where it was to begin with.
If you play the numbers, Buddy Lazier started 5th today. He won the Indy 500 in 96 from the 5th starting position. He won at Charlotte in 97, starting in 5th position. He also won Phoenix last year from 26th, and Kentucky after starting in 7th position. But the 5th starting position has been lucky for Buddy Lazier. And there is Sam Hornish Sr. watching his son running 2nd.
You know, yesterday, Bob, during our qualifying show, I was down in the pits and I was talking to Buddy's wife, Cara, and she told me she was very happy when he qualified 5th, because she looked me right in the eye and she said, we always win when he starts 5th.
Well, it's a 6-second advantage for Buddy Lazier over Sam Hornish, and about a 12.5-second lead over Buell. More of the Pikes Peak Indy 200 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
The Pikes Peak 200. This ABC Sports presentation brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealers. Pennzoil, protection under the toughest driving conditions. And John Deere, nothing runs like a deer.
20 laps to go at Pikes Peak International Raceway. We're on board with Sarah Fisher, who's having a rather good day. She's running in 11th position, and she's trying to catch Allenzer Jr., who is just up ahead in 10th position. They're the top 5 with now less than 20 laps to go. We've had 3 leaders. Sam Hornish has led 152 laps. Buddy Lazier has been up front for 25 and still is. And the first 4 laps of the race were led by Greg Ray. Average speed 141.4 miles an hour. The 6th race of the 2001 Indy Racing League campaign here at Pikes Peak. Buddy Lazier currently the leader. There is Sarah Fisher as she tries to catch Allenzer Jr. for 10th position. Richie Hearn is running 9th. And we do have 3 cars that are out of the race. Jacques Lazier, Ray, Andre, and a 4th car now, Billy Rowe. And let's talk with Didier Andre. Jack?
A disappointment for you, Didier. What put you out?
Yeah, we were running pretty well. I had a very good car for the race, and I get the
the throttle pedal broke, so I had to pit. I had this problem since the beginning of the race, and I tried to play with it, but it was impossible, so I had to stop and try to fix it. And I went back on the track, and we couldn't get any position, and even when we fixed it, the throttle stayed on, so it was pretty dangerous. We prefer stopping, and it's going to be for next time.
We'll see you in Richmond.
Thanks.
And Bob, let me update you as well on a condition of Buddy Lazier's car is developing. They are looking at the telemetry and seeing that the engine is beginning to show some heat. They've asked Buddy Lazier to go to 6th gear. If I'm not mistaken, is that not, Larry, is that not kind of the cruise gear?
That is exactly the cruise gear, and I don't think he wants to get in it too much because Robbie Buell is on the move. He's 6 miles an hour faster than either one of the two guys in front of him, and he has caught Sam Hornish here in the last few laps like he was, sitting still. Remember, he came in, and we mentioned because he might have fresher tires as the run went longer, he might be better than either one of the first two guys. So far, that appears to be the case.
This is the battle for second position. Sam Hornish and Robbie Buell will check their speeds at the line and see who's the fastest of the three. Well, Buell is faster than Hornish, but Lazier is better than either one of them.
And it might be that once he catches Hornish, the tires won't be as big an advantage in the dirty air as they were on the open racetrack. But on the open racetrack, the fresher tires made a huge, huge difference. Uh-oh, here he goes.
Way on the inside.
That's Buzz Hawkins that they went around, allowing Buell to get a little bit closer to Sam. It's about a 9-second interval from the leader, Lazier, back to this battle for second spot.
The other thing you have to remember is that Hornish pitted on lap 116. So that means they've got to really stretch that fuel load. They've got to get 84 laps out of it in order to get to the end.
Oh, here he goes. He's got a good run coming down through the D-shaped part of this oval, but cannot get to the inside of Sam and cannot find an opportunity to pass.
And actually, while this is going on, it's giving the leader a chance to pull away from both of them a little bit. So I think he wants them to keep battling it out as long as they can.
9 laps to go. Make that 11 laps to go.
Well, Robbie Buell's got to figure out a way. Traffic is the best way.
10 to go.
So as they catch this slower traffic, he's going to try to pick a way to get around that Hornish goes. Hornish goes high, he'll go low to try to make the pass.
Here we go.
10 laps to go. Clear.
Here's the active interval for you once again. That's Salazar that Buell is trying to pass to the inside.
Yeah, he had to get out of the throttle. That'll cost him a little bit. With only a few laps to go, it's going to be very hard now to catch back up and make that pass on Sam Hornish.
Up to a little more than a half-second advantage now. While we're watching this battle, let me tell you about a few other drivers who've done well today. Felipe Giafone solidly in the top 10 again. He's in 7th. Richie Hearn could give team owner Sam Schmidt his first top 10. Hearn is now 9th. And Billy Boat is going for his 3rd top 5 finish in the Curb Agajanian Beck car, as Boat is in 4th spot in the last car on the lead lap.
Ayrton Dare running in 5th also had a very good run, one of his better runs.
And Taylor Jr.'s done well to hold on to that 6th position, given the fact he's running on 7 cylinders.
Yep. So Infinity's running in the 3rd and 6th positions as we near the checkered flag here this afternoon in what's been a fast race and one that was just totally dominated for a large portion of the event by Sam Hornish Jr. But this last set of tires has not suited the car. And Sam has had a struggle. He's now running in 2nd.
Well, it doesn't appear that Buell caught him, but once he got up behind him, he doesn't appear to have anything much for him. He tried one time or twice, but evidently the tires on his car also have started going away just a little bit.
And guys, Sarah Fisher has just gotten around Al Unser Jr. for that 10th spot. Quite an amazing drive for her today, considering that they've been chasing that car all weekend, and it seems like she's turned it around for herself during this race.
Run for Sarah. There she is, running in 10th spot.
Well, she's not a quitter. You know, she's been out there fresh, and they ran a lot of laps trying to get that thing dialed in, and she's really been doing well.
And remember, she had a problem during qualifying yesterday that forced her to only have 1 lap.
Well, the whole team dived in there and fixed it really, they only got one lap, and they almost didn't get to qualify at all, but they started 15th instead of dead last.
Well, there are now less than 4 laps to go as Lazier crosses the stripe and completes lap number 197. 3 to go. His advantage over Sam Hornish Jr. and Robbie Buell. We'll check it as they hit the line. It is 9.1 seconds. So a nice lead for Buddy Lazier here in the closing stages of this race, and in a popular victory it will be, because again, Lazier is one of the home state favorites hailing from Vail.
And I know his dad's going to be real proud of Buddy and how his brother Jacques raced today. I'd also like to say a quick hello and a happy Father's Day to my father, Lauren, who's watching in Vancouver, British Columbia today. Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Now remember, Jack Root told us earlier that Lazier's car got faster on the longer runs. That's proven to be the case in this long run, and he just keeps pulling away from these guys.
The white flag is out. One more lap to go for Buddy Lazier. He takes it down the backstretch for the final time.
Turn 3.
And here is Buddy Lazier rounding turns 3 and 4. Buddy Lazier heads for the checkered flag and takes his 5th career Indy Racing League victory.
Thank you, guys.
Second place goes to Sam Hornish by a few car lengths over Robbie Buell. And there is Bob Lazier, who can celebrate along with Buddy's wife Kara a victory here this afternoon.
Give a call to Greg Beck. Brought Billy Boat home in 4th because of his strategy, really, when they didn't pit that one time and got their lead back on the lead lap.
Well, looks like Buddy likes starting 5th.
They want you to take an extra lap.
Let's go down to Vince Welch.
Bob, we were just talking a few minutes ago about how good a Father's Day it would be to see Buddy cross victory lane, cross into victory lane, and he's done it.
He's done it for sure. It was great, absolutely wonderful. Okay, and the whole family is here, minus our daughter Wendy. She had a horse problem, but it is a very nice day. And as we mentioned in the earlier one, hey, and this is his second father right here.
And how about Ron Himmelgarn? Ron, you told me earlier today we need a win to get back in the championship hunt.
We really do. I mean, Tybo Coors Light car is just fantastic. It ran good all day, and last year we finished last. This year we come back and win. I mean, what a fantastic Father's Day, huh?
I know it's a good day for you, too. Congratulations, Ron. And the Himmelgarn team celebrating today back in the championship hunt.
And Buddy has taken a victory lap, and he's unfastened the belts, and he's enjoying every minute of this trip around the track in which he is being saluted by the fans. It's his first win since that incredible last to first victory at Phoenix in March of last year. There are the top 10. Buell gets a top 5 finish. The last top 5 he had was at Las Vegas in April of last year. And there are 11 through 20 as Allenser Jr. was put back in the 11th position late in the race by Sarah Fisher.
Sweet redemption today for Buddy Lazier. Blew his engine on the first lap of last year's race. This year he's the victor.
He is, and he's still making his way toward victory lane and still saluting the crowd. Victory lane is going to be right here at the start-finish line, and this crowd that's gathered here, they are on their feet and they're screaming and cheering for the Vail, Colorado native, Buddy Lazier.
He's taking his car four-wheeling.
Having a little bit of difficulty moving through that grass to victory lane, but he's decided to just shut it off and allow the crew to push it up to victory lane.
Congratulations, Buddy Lazier. Well done. Hard-earned victory today by the whole Himmelgarn team, and well done.
Well, you can tell he's very happy. It's been a while since he's been in victory lane. They've had some tough luck this year in some of the races, and they were due for a victory, though. This team is a very good team, as they proved last year. And they had very quietly, they had things in line here today.
Buddy led the final 44 laps of this race, and he has now moved up a position in the point standings to 4th. He's out of the car, and the victory begins for, victory celebration, I should say, begins for Buddy Lazier.
We talked about you had to be the best handling car at the end of the race. That's exactly what they did. Lap 116, they made their final adjustments, and when it all came down, his race car was just a little bit better than Sam Hornish's was for the last 50 laps.
Here's Jackaroot.
Well, Buddy Lazier has finally taken the helmet off. How big a monkey just got taken off your back, buddy?
Oh, huge. It's just huge. I mean, this is my home track. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to let myself believe it there at the end. Real gusty, hard to hang on to the car, but just an awesome day for me.
So much patience for the Tybo Coors Light crew and you behind the wheel. Car wasn't very good in dirty air, but you stayed with it.
Well, it was good enough. I mean, it was really good. My engineer did an awesome job. I had the best car out there today, you know, and Coors is one of our main sponsors. I'd like to thank Tybo and Coors. This is our backyard, and what a great place to do it. I just can't believe it.
It's Father's Day. What do you want to say to your son, Flynn, and what do you want to say to your father, Bob?
You're going to college, and Dad, thank you.
That's what happens when you take the lion's share of $1 million purse. Buddy, the first win of the season for this team, the first laps led for this team. What's ahead for the second half of the season for this Hemmelgarn operation?
Well, you know, who knows? We've got a great crew here, and I couldn't be prouder of them. You know, we've had a lot of difficulties this season, yet we're only 5th in points. So my team just keeps digging. I couldn't be prouder of them. We just keep digging, and there's still quite a long seasons ahead of us. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's check in with Vince Welch.
Podium for the second straight week, and that is Sam Hornish Jr. Boy, it looked like you had such a dominating car early in the race, but kind of went away from you there at the end.
Yeah, the first 2 stops, we had an awesome car, could go anywhere we wanted to. I think we just got an off set of tires that wasn't the same and made the car pretty loose, but you know, the Pennzoil Panther guys did an awesome job in the pits. We had a great car out there, and just let it slip through our hands. But you know, lucky to bring the car home and be in the top 2, and we gained a lot of points today.
You are lucky to bring it home because you had one heck of a save out there. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, the car was just, I went in the corner and the car kind of stepped out a little bit, and I thought it was over, but somehow managed to keep it going straight and not knock anything off the car. So pretty happy to have that going for us.
He's still in charge of the points race, looking for a championship for the Pennzoil Panther team. Sam Hornish, second today.
And his point lead is now 56 over Salazar. Sharp is third, Lazier fourth, and Giafone to fifth.
It's time to reveal the Indy All Access Sweepstakes Driver of the Day.
Hi, I'm Buddy Lazier from Vail, Colorado. I'm the Indy All Access Sweepstakes Driver of the Day.
For your chance to win a ride in an Indy car and a trip to next year's Indianapolis 500, log on to ESPN.com, keyword Indy Pass. Fill out an entry form and include the name of the driver of the day. One entry with the correct answer will be selected at random as this week's winner.
And third place finisher, Team Purex driver. And I got to tell you, Robbie Buell, you were the fastest guy out there near the end of the race.
Yeah, we had made some changes to the car right there at the end, and it was great when I was by myself. And if I could have gotten by Hornish, we could have left him. But when I got in behind him, we had some dirty air. But all the dry Reinbold Purex guys, things have been turning around since the month of May, and the Infinity Motor program, that's coming around. And we're going to win races with that motor, both Cheever and myself, before this year's out. So, you know, we got to be on the podium. We did that, and we're going to win races this year. So,
what is the biggest change that you made with this team? And is it terms of assignments?
Well, it is. I mean, you know, we've had some personnel changes the month of May, but also part of it's all the Infinity Motorsports guys have been working really hard at the beginning of the year, and we've slowly been working those bugs out and making progress. So it's a combination of that, but this team is starting to fire on all cylinders. Everybody's liking to come to work in the morning, so that's a good thing. Even the driver.
Bob.
Well, Robbie Buell finishes in third position here behind Sam Hornish Jr. and the winner, Buddy Lazier.
Boat finishes fourth today at Pikes Peak, and his 9-year-old son, Chad, just said, Dad, you were on the rev limiter a lot today. How else was it? It was a pretty good day for you.
Yeah, not bad, you know. The Curve Records team did a great job for me. We got a break when we got that yellow and got our lap back, and then we got you know, that penalty put us behind a little bit. You know, we had a great race car at the end. I think we were good enough to run with anybody. But, you know, that's the breaks. And, you know, the key for this team is the consistency. Running that top 5, running in the hunt, being up there at the front. And looking forward to going to Richmond. I think it's going to be a bull ring. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And another top 5 finish does have you moving up the championship ladder, too.
Absolutely. You know, the consistency is the key for this team. You know, we know we don't have the resources. We know we don't have what it takes to go sit on the poles. We never tested here. We don't get a lot of laps, so we got to make every lap count. And that's what we have to do here. And running those top 5s and running consistent is the key for us. You run up there long enough, your win's going to come your way.
Maybe the most efficient team in the league, Curve Motorsports with the Agajanian Group and Billy Boat. Jack?
And Vince Eddie Cheever Jr. was joking with his Infinity crew that maybe you ought to run on 7 cylinders now and again because the car performed pretty well.
And it definitely improves the horsepower. You take 50. It definitely improves the handling. You take 50 horsepower out.
I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's an electronics problem or maybe an injector, but I started losing a cylinder right from the beginning, and the car would go in spurts and then fall back again, but it was a good race.
With so much that was happening out on the racetrack and such heavy race traffic, how tough was it to navigate today?
For me, it was very difficult because I had no acceleration. I just had to keep on going in fourth gear. I had to drop down 2 gears to keep going, but it was a very busy day. It was very slippery up on top. Everybody kept their head together. It was a very fun race. It's a very tough place to come up in Colorado and run, especially when they have races before us, because they put different type of rubber down and you really don't know what the car setup is. But it was a lot of fun. I'm still waiting for this year to start for us. So when is the next race?
Richmond.
Well, maybe Richmond. We'll do it in Richmond then.
All right, so his season starts in Richmond. Bob?
And that Richmond race will be on Saturday night, June the 30th on ESPN. It's the Richmond 300, the first time the IRL has ever competed on a track less than 1 mile in length. It should be fun. Join us June 30th.